What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 53 of Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, and leadership powered by Beta Consulting Group. I'm Trey Griggs, and the weather is warming up finally. And so I got to get my golf game in order. So looking forward to getting some time out on the course soon. In the meantime, though, why don't you go check us out at betaconsultinggroup.com. We're helping companies really focus on their branding, their messaging, their content creation, their podcasting, all the things that have to deal with their brand and making life easier for their sales team. So check us out at betaconsultinggroup.com. See how we can help you out with your sales and your marketing strategies. And also make sure you come back every day for an episode of Standing Out at 10:30 a.m. Central on LinkedIn Live, YouTube, and Twitter. We got great guests tomorrow. I'm very excited about our guests tomorrow. Bringing on my good friend, Robin Hyra of R2 Logistics. Robin's had a phenomenal career. She's been a director of sales. She's now director of technology at R2 Logistics, and is going to be just a treat. She has her own bakery, or at least has in the past owned her own bakery. So if you get to know Robin, you might get some lovely treats at some point, some chocolate cupcakes or something like that. But she's going to be awesome to finish out the week this week on Standing Out. So looking forward to that as well. Also, everybody, very excited to announce, and you may have seen it on social media out there, but I'm going to be emceeing the upcoming TMSA Level Up Conference. Now, what is TMSA, you might ask? Well, it's the Transportation Marketing and Sales Association, and they are the organization that is pushing forward the best practices and new technology and new strategies and creating a community for sales and marketing professionals to come together. And this is the one conference in transportation and logistics that does that. So if you are a director of sales, if you are leading a sales team, a CSO, or if you're a director of marketing, a CMO, leading a marketing team, make sure that you sign up at events.tmsatoday.org and plan to be with us down in Orlando, June 5 through 7. It's going to be an awesome time. We've got some amazing speakers that are going to be there, some great influencers from the industry like Chris Jolly, Blythe Brumleve, Christy Knichel, all going to be there. So it's going to be a great time. And the new executive director of TMSA, Jennifer Carbis-Romaine, is going to be there as well, obviously leading the charge. And so very excited to be emceeing and being a part of that organization. So again, make sure you join us. Go to events.tmsatoday.org and sign up to join us down in Orlando, June 5 through 7. It's going to be awesome. All right, everybody. Before we bring on our guest today, who this guy's just fire. If you follow him on LinkedIn, you know his content's just tremendous. Can't wait to have him on. But before we bring him on, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, TAFS. These are the good guys in freight factoring. They're helping carriers become educated on financial products and services and providing them with a network of resources to make sure the carriers have everything they need to truly survive and thrive in any market. Make sure you go to tafs.com to learn more and tell them that Trey sent you. If you're an asset-based carrier, they're going to help you with your invoices and your receivables, as well as many other things like fuel discounts and tires and other necessities that you have. If you are a freight broker, then they're looking for broker partners, some referral partners, so that you can provide a really great resource to your carriers, make sure that they are thriving and growing again in any market. So again, check them out at tafs.com. Scott Watanabe, yesterday's guest, man, that guy's fire, the freight sensei. Thanks for joining today as well. If you didn't catch episode 52, you can catch every episode of Standing Out on demand on LinkedIn, YouTube, or on Twitter. You go to the YouTube page, Trey Griggs, and you'll see all of the Standing Out episodes, including yesterday's with Freight Sensei. The guy's amazing. So it was a great episode yesterday. Okay, let's bring on today's guest. I don't know if this guy's prepared a rap or not. We talked about doing a rap battle at some point. I don't know if it's going to be today, but we'll just have to see what goes down today. Everybody, give it up for my good friend, Hayden Allred. Hayden, what's up, brother? How are you,
Good morning, man. I'm doing great now. I'm on the show with you, man.
Good to see you, man. One of these days, we're going to have to get some tunes going, and we're just going to have to just go back and forth. Sometimes when I'm out, like inspiration, I'm not like, I have mad respect for the hip hop artists that can freestyle. They're ridiculous at how good they are. I have to think about it just a little bit more, but there are times, man, where I'm out doing something and I think, man, this would be great with Hayden to go back and forth about this, and something will come to mind. But, the expectations are pretty high. How are you, man? How's everything going?
Fantastic, man. Just wrapping up another week, staying busy, nothing slowing down in our world. Yeah, right. So I'm great, man. No complaints. How about yourself?
Your mindset is so good, man. I'll tell you, it's been so much fun these last couple of months. We got a couple of things that we've been able to do together that have been just tremendous. We're collaborating together, which is so much fun. And you're just one of those guys that I want you in my network. I want you on my team. I want you in my group. It's just contagious and infectious. And so I appreciate you like crazy. A couple things we want to talk about real quick before we go on is we've got our Iron Minds podcast. We're actually up to episode 7 next week. Can you believe that?
Yep.
Episode 7 coming up. We've made it 7 straight weeks without missing, which is awesome. And we're going to be talking about, again, mindset, leadership, getting ready for the week, and just being inspirational, hopefully, to the people out there. Had a great workout this last week. Had a great time just talking about things. So I appreciate you for coming up with that idea. For everybody out there who doesn't know, this was Hayden's idea. He's like, man, let's get a workout together and let's help the people in the industry just get their minds right. So appreciate that, man. It feels good to act on stuff that you create, doesn't it?
It does. I've got a lot of ideas in my head, and 99% of them do not make it out of there. So this one felt good. However you want to grade it, it happened. So that's a cool checkbox to have, and then to steadily build on.
Yeah. And, there's a lot of people out there that have ideas. I think we all sometimes come up with an idea and a vision, but either we're too busy to act on it, or we just don't think it's worth anything, or why would we do that? And I think one of the best things for creators is just to try things. I mean, I don't know how long Iron Minds is going to last. It may only last another couple of weeks. It may go for another couple of years. Who knows? But it was your idea. And to be able to see that, come into fruition as a creator is so healthy. And it just keeps you thinking about, well, what else could we do? What else can we do? And I know that that's true also with the upcoming Tough Mudder that we're going to be doing. So we did the Tough Mudder in St. Louis, and now we got another Tough Mudder. Why don't you tell everybody about this one coming up, what we're doing?
It's going to be here in Dallas, Granbury, Texas, to be specific. It's going to be on October 29th. We've already recruited. It's got to be coming up to close to a dozen people at this point. We're going to be setting up in several heats. So you're going to be able to do the 5K, the 10K, or the 15K. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a great time. We're going to get as many industry folks as we can out there. Hopefully get some first timers out there as well. I can say that I'm not a first timer anymore. I'm an endurance athlete at this point. It's going to be great.
You're an endurance athlete, my friend.
What I walked away from, it was so cool. But we're going to be raising money for a foundation that I'm going to let you talk about to raise money for ALS.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. And so this is going to be the Iron Minds Tough Mudder Charity Challenge. And Scott, thanks for being a part of Iron Minds. It's enjoy you
the man, those. Scott.
It's good, man. It's good just to create a little group of people that are just wanting to just be better. And it starts with your mind, starts with your body. It's been helpful for me, keeps me accountable. I mean, 5:30 on Monday morning, I'm up because I know you're going to be there. But, we got the upcoming Iron Minds Tough Mudder Charity Challenge in Dallas, October 29, and it's this year, 2022. And so we're going to be raising money for an organization called Suke Strong, S-U-K-E Strong. And I'm still working on some of the links, getting some things ironed out for them. But here's essentially what it is. ALS patients, when they are diagnosed with ALS, it's a death sentence. They know that they're going to die within 1 to 4 or 5 years, is the way it works. In our family, my brother-in-law's mother-in-law, unfortunately was diagnosed with ALS 10 years ago. She lived 6 years. She passed away 4 years ago. And one thing that we learned through that whole process is that those end of life services, or those things that are needed to have quality of life at the end, are not covered by insurance when you're an ALS patient. The accommodations for your home, the technology so they can continue to communicate when they lose their vocal cords. Just all of those things are, really difficult and expensive. And so we started having a golf tournament that they created, their family created that. And we've had one for 9 years now, I think 10 years now. And all that money was raised to help with end-of-life services. Well, now that Joan is no longer with us, before she passed, she said, this continues. You need to help people who are struggling. And so it's a gut-wrenching thing. But every year we have a golf tournament, we raise money, and we give that money to an ALS patient here in St. Louis who is going to die. And it's really hard to be a part of that, but it's such a huge need because there's just no cure for ALS. So with this Tough Mudder, we're going to partner with Suke Strong, raise some more money so that we can impact more people directly with the money they need to have end-of-life services, to create those accommodations with their in their homes or their cars or whatever they need. It's just very, very difficult as you start to lose the ability to just live. And so I'm very excited about that. We'll get the link set up at some point. But it's an amazing organization, and really happy to partner with them on this to do that. We've got a team of, I think, 5 already who have signed up. So if you're wanting to challenge yourself a little bit and get after it with a Tough Mudder, join us. We're going to be Team Iron Minds. It's going to be in Granbury, Texas. It's going to be great. And there's plenty of time, October 29th. So we got a lot of time to do it right. Richard is a great cause. Hope you'll join us, or encourage people to join us as well. Shout out to my boy Jordan Bell from Lean Solutions. He's already signed up. You've already got some guys signed up as well.
Yep.
So it's going to be a blast down there. We're going to do the 9-miler again and just get dirty and have fun. And this time I'm going to be sure to take off my wedding ring. Almost lost it last time. Can't do that. So
yeah, gotta
make sure I take it off. That's for sure. Well, Hayden, listen, I appreciate you from the standpoint of wanting to push yourself and get out of your comfort zone. And I think that is really the catalyst for growth, is when somebody's willing to push themselves out of their comfort zone, realize maybe there's an area where they can be better, and then figure out how to pursue that and become better. And man, it seems like that's in your DNA. Talk a little bit about that.
It's funny you say that. I've always had I attribute this to the ADD or the ADHD, whatever you want to call that. But like I've done a lot of activities, different sports, competition type stuff in my life, just kind of seeking out and looking for those things that like pull those levers inside me, right? It's the funniest thing, because I used to joke about it all the time with baseball for 18 years of my life, at the collegiate level. And I would step on a pitcher's mound, toe the rubber, and it's almost as if I felt nothing most of the time. Like I just could not get an adrenaline rush. I could not, it was just something I've done for so long, or something I did, that it just became whatever. But when I play, competitive video games, I used to play a lot of tournament, high level competitive shooters. Dude, my heart is going through my shirt, and it's like it's the silliest thing that I can't wrap my head around. So I'm always trying to find those activities and try different things to try to, maybe, I don't want to call it adrenaline junkie, but just to find those things that really invoke that fierce, I guess, side of us, which is kind of the reason that that I signed up for the Tough Mudder. I was kind of at a lull in my physical fitness, quote unquote, journey or whatever right now. It just wasn't working out the way I thought I needed to. So that gave me a good reason to train. You put me on the spot and asked me and invited me. I accepted quickly, as if I had it in the holster ready to
go. It was really quick. I was nervous. Like, you didn't know what you were getting into. You're like, I'll do it. I'm like, whoa, you have a question. All right. Okay.
Yeah. It's always something that it was interesting to see other people do it. And I was like, it's always that thing. I was like, I wonder if I could do that. I wonder if I could. And I was like, you know what? Like, I've got a reason for it now. It's not me just on a whim. I have someone to kind of hold me accountable, things that we've talking about. And it's for a great cause. I'm going to get to meet other people in person. So I was like, let's do it. And we made it happen. And it was, dude, I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, it was tremendous. You think about that. We went 9 miles. I think the longest you ran before the event was 3 miles, right? Or 2.5. Something
about
like that.
2.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had walking intervals in it. So that wasn't even straight.
But yet we all ran together. We kept up. We had a good time. We had a lot of fun with that. And it was just one of those things where, like, you get to the next obstacle and you're like, yeah, let's go. And I remember by the end of the day, like, my arms were tired. I had cramps in my legs, but man, it felt so good to cross that finish line. And I think that's what those races do, is like, gives you something to work towards, but crossing that finish line is such a great feeling of accomplishment that you want it again. You want to do it again. It was probably a day later. We're like, when's the next one? What are we doing? When are we doing the next one? So
and I said this on Iron Minds, the sign at the starting line said, "Welcome to your new addiction." And again, I made a joke about it. Like, are they going to be serving us drugs during the course? Like, what is going to be addicting about this? This is going to be awful. Like, we're going to do it, but it's the weirdest thing. You finish, and there's just a sense of, especially if you didn't know you could do it, or you had that doubt, or that one, you're just curious to know, and then you do it. And you didn't sign up for the smaller ones. You just flat out hopped up off the couch, did a 3.5 week training thing. It was like, all right, we're going to run 9.3 miles with 30 obstacles. I hope I don't die. And I feel like we kind of crushed it. All things considered, like, we crushed it.
All things considered, we certainly do better. We could have a better time, whatever. We could be in better. There's no doubt. But for that one, absolutely crushed it. And excited for this next one to see kind of what happens, and excited to have something to work forward to this summer. Like, for me, I'm the same way. Like, I just need a target out there. And when you have a target and a vision, it just changes the whole game, because now everything that goes towards that vision is a yes. And everything that goes away from that vision is a no or a maybe, right? And it just changes kind of the way that you think about pursuing a goal or pursuing a target, which is awesome. I'm looking forward to that. You got some guys from Texas that are going to be there too, right?
I do. I've got a few industry folks here in the DFW. They're going to be joining. Some people outside of the industry that I've known from back when I was at my car dealership days, that I've stayed connected with on Facebook or whatever social media. And so I've been posting about it and kind of, talking about ours in St. Louis. And I've got other people interested. I was like, well, dude, I just found one in Dallas. We're definitely signing up. I've already rallied some troops around this. Like, come out and join us. You don't have to be, a Spartan and an elite Navy SEAL to do this stuff. But you will be glad that you did it. I think. I'm very confident in that.
100%. So we're calling out everybody in transportation, everybody watching the show, and anybody else who wants to be a part of it. Let us know. We're going to put some information up on my website for that soon. We'll get that all going to where you can sign up and be a part of the team, or you can just go to Tough Mudder and sign up there as well. We're going to create a team. We got to figure it out, Hayden. We got to figure out how to create our team, Iron Minds, and get people to join. But it's going to be awesome. Again, it's going to be a ton of fun, plenty of time to get ready for it. And who knows, you might just find your new addiction as well, which is cool. I love those types of courses. I love doing, ninja type stuff and things like that. So It's going to be really exciting. All right. Hey, let's transition for a minute. That's very exciting. But let's transition. You are you're in sales, enterprise sales at Emerge. And for those that don't follow you on LinkedIn, they're definitely missing out. Your content to me is so good because you have the ability to take something relevant in culture or relevant to like my life as a dad or whatever, and then turn it into something that talks about your company, talks about your offering, as well as just entertaining. Like I think the other day you just said, it doesn't matter what status you are, what title you have, hamburger helper will always be at the top of the list. Like you just have a way to, I think, make people laugh and get people engaged that is unique and impressive. Talk a little bit about why you do what you do, like what really makes you stand out and why do you do it?
So I don't know if I stand out.
Oh,
I
you
think
do. Let me just
the
say you do.
entire goal, well, I appreciate that, I don't know. It's one of those things where I just have all these things constantly going on in my head. And unless I get some of them out, it becomes too cluttered in there. I guess it's kind of the best way to describe that. I like to think of myself as a pretty sarcastic, well-read person. And there's something about intermingling the two to use humor to do business. I'm also a big believer. So when I came into the industry, I had this mindset that I had to be Mr. Professional, suited up, have all my ducks in a row, perfectly over-articulated, well-spoken person to prove credibility because I was so young, I was new to the industry, and I wanted to make a name for myself. And I had great success out the gate, but it wasn't because of that. But I learned later on that really I don't think anyone actually likes that guy because I know I really didn't. It was this facade I had to put on, which is mentally exhausting, right?
Yeah.
And I think everyone can agree that mental exhaustion is 10x more burdening than physical exhaustion. Like you can't get away from your mind, right? You're always you can always lay down if you're tired.
That's such a great point.
It got to the point, and then post 2020, when I think it humanized so much of the professional world. You see Zoom calls, you've got kids running in and out of the
dogs barking,
media, dogs barking. We've got
trash truck running by the street.
Normal people issues, problems, obstacles that we all go through, but maybe there wasn't a light shone on that prior to that because we were in business and everyone's putting these facades, I don't want to call them facades, but everyone has their business self on, right? And I just think ever since we went through the pandemic, everything switched to an inside or virtual world. I just got to the point where it's like, I don't want to be that person anymore. Like, I don't want to do that anymore. I would rather just talk to people as if I kind of already know them, and let's skip the false pleasantries. Let's skip the small talk. Life's too short for that. I lost friends. I lost new acquaintances, to COVID. That I was just, it was disheartening to learn. It was tragic. It was like, man, I would have loved to get to know that person better because I felt they would have brought so much impact to my life. I wish in the few conversations I had with them that I would have just skipped the BS essentially up front. Like, let's just get right to it. I'm going to ask you the real questions I want to ask you. So I've just tried to kind of adopt that mindset. Life is too short. And I want to be as direct, authentic, and get to the real conversation as fast as possible. And I'm over the like I said, the false pleasantries, the beating around the bush. Like, why? It doesn't have to be that way.
Here's what I'm hearing from that, which is great, is you just decided to be your authentic self and be okay letting people in on who that person is. And I know just from your post, there's about 3 or 4 things you really care about because you're consistent, and anybody can do this. You care about supply chain like crazy. You care about technology. You care about barbecuing. You care about UFC, and you care immensely about your family. Those 5 things. Like, I know that about you because of what you post and what you do. But what's really great is that everybody gets to know you and your story, and what makes you stand out is you. Like, you're the only Hayden Allred there is. You're unique. And I wish more people would think about that. What really helps them stand out is just being who they are, whoever that is. If you're really serious, you're a numbers guy, be a serious numbers guy on social media, because there's value in that. If you're, whoever else. I mean, Chris Jolly is is just fully himself. Blythe Brumley, fully herself when she does her content. Like, just be who you are. And to me, that's what really makes you stand out, is that you let people in on who you are, but we know who you care about, and you're just willing to put yourself out there and talk about those things you care about. That's what I see.
Well, I appreciate that. That means a lot. I don't know if I ever went into it with that kind of mindset. I think it's a good outlet for me. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to blend it, because my whole goal starting out, like I said, trying to approach transportation professionals, selling to them, is I want to stand out. There's so much of people that do what we do. There's so much saturation in the most fragmented industry I can think of. you've got to find a way to cut through the smoke. So I decided that I was initially just going to try to be the most polarizing figure I could to stand out, whether for good or bad. I wanted to engage and create dialogue. Whether it started off on the wrong foot, that's okay. If I've got back and forth going, we can navigate it back to the right way. Maybe I miscommunicated, but the point is, I got a conversation going. I wasn't left on red. You weren't ignoring me, because that was the most frustrating thing. It's like, dude, I've got something to say, and I genuinely believe I can make your job and your company more efficient, more profitable, whatever that outcome is. But we've got to start with a conversation, and relationships have to start somewhere. So I wanted to be remembered. I wanted to be, whether that first call was just off the wall and they're just like, what is happening right now? I wanted them to remember who I was. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where the foundation of that, I guess spawned from.
You want them to go home and your name or that experience to come up at dinner. Like, let me tell you what happened today. Let me tell you about this.
Yeah. To a certain degree. Yeah.
That's memorable, right? That'll always be memorable. So let me put you on the spot. Do you wear the hat to the back just like you are now on a sales call? First sales call?
Typically, no. It depends. I am, I do have to be conscious of how I reflect selling at the enterprise level, just because first impressions are first impressions for a reason. And despite I'm very comfortable wearing my hat backwards, it's an indoor thing. If I'm indoors, my hat's backwards because there's not sun in my face, and I wore a hat for so long that just it's a comfort thing.
Yeah.
And I need a haircut too. Typically, no. After the first call, you feel the person out. It's like, is this a down to earth person? Is this a realistic, or do they take this very, very seriously and they want to have that high level business persona conversation? So most of the time though, I'm wearing a hat to some degree.
So would you mid call maybe throw that hat on backwards if you find this person's chill with it, like it's no big deal? You ever done that?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I'll just hold on. I was like, let's put a pause real quick.
Hold on.
Yeah. Now we're good. Yeah.
That's awesome. No, I love it, man. I think just being authentic, but there's a balancing act, right? Because you're representing not only yourself, but you're also representing your company. You want to make sure that you manage both of those really well. And so it's a delicate balancing act, but I love the fact that you're conscious of that. You're thinking about that whenever you're presenting on a call or whatever it might be, which is cool. That's awesome, man. Thank you for kind of sharing a little bit about what you think about whenever you're creating content and why it's important to you. I think it's important for people to at least think through that a little bit and understand who they are and why they think the way they do. So you've already done a lot of that, which is awesome. Just cool. All right, cool. So let's transition real quick. So I want to talk a little bit about the UFC, your love for UFC, because I'm not a UFC guy. Not yet. We're working on it. I will say this. I have watched more UFC highlights, knowing that you care about it because we're friends. So that's kind of nice to know. Yeah, Jim, I agree with Jim on this. Jim says it must be nice to have hair and choose to wear a hat.
It hasn't grayed that stick yet, so we're lucky.
Yeah. Keep wearing the hat, that hair's not going to be there much longer. That's the truth. And Jim, I got a problem too, because this is kind of like my iconic thing here, so I can't even wear hats. So sometimes people give me hats to wear, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can wear that unless I'm playing golf, and then I do wear a hat. So that's kind of the way that goes. All right, but UFC. So let me give you my take on UFC, and then you talk to me a little about UFC. Yes, okay. Scott, now you're working on it. So I always had trouble watching UFC because it's hard to watch people get knocked out. Like, just from a humane perspective, to me, it's hard watching people become unconscious. If it is a live or die situation where you're defending yourself in that regard, I can understand where those kind of things happen. But for people to willingly put themselves into a cage, knowing that they might just get knocked out and what that might mean down the road, like I'm thinking of it from kind of a human perspective, like quality of life type of thing. But then the more that I've kind of watched it, there's so much strategy involved and training, and it's kind of just a battle. I don't know. I'm intrigued. I'll say this. I'm intrigued. Would I pay for a UFC pay-per-view? Not yet, but I'm intrigued. Tell me a little about why you love UFC and just kind of what you've learned just from following that as a fan.
It's a good question. So I've always been kind of the oddball, especially in the corporate logistics world. I don't watch traditional sports. And when I say I don't watch them, I mean I don't watch them at all.
Football, baseball, golf, basketball, none of them.
I almost fell asleep while you were naming those. Like I can't. I don't know what it is. Even when I played baseball. I played 2 years in junior college. Then I had a full ride to finish out for my undergrad in Connecticut to throw a baseball. And I played baseball. My love of the game was never for the game itself. There was something that just I loved about throwing a baseball hard. I don't know whether it was playing catch, long tossing, stepping on the mound to face a batter. I just loved throwing a ball as hard as I could. It's not as hard as I wish it was, but it felt great at times. But I
What's the
never even
hardest you
watched
threw in
baseball,
college, real quick? What's the hardest you threw in college?
dude. Off the
What'd you
mound,
get up
it
to?
was not. I was probably like 87,
That's
88.
legit. That's pretty legit.
My problem
Very
was I was
few people
all
get to the
arm.
90s.
I had an outfielder's arm. I could get it into the mid 90s if I'm using my legs. The problem was I was not an athlete. I could not play outfield. My vision was awful. But you put me in there, I can get the ball to home plate on the line pretty easy. But I could not transfer that to the mound. I never figured out how to use my legs.
87 is legit,
Anyway.
though. That's pretty good. I've never seen 87.
Well, you got a two seam that moves this much, and you can place it, and then you got a gnarly changeup. You can do a lot of things with that.
That's right. All right. Anyways, back to UFC.
Yeah. There was something about combat sports. It started in boxing. Boxing takes a little bit more understanding. It's more of an, there's an art form to it, and most people don't like boxing, or they're turned off by it because they want to see people just straight up brawl. But that's not what boxing is, and they're two very different sports. But there's something about mixed martial arts that it's the highest level of like modern gladiators. You're putting two extreme athletes who have dedicated their entire lives to doing this. And if you've never watched how a fighter lives, especially to make it to that level, it is incredible. You want to talk about dedication, discipline, commitment. My God. It's something to revere, but you're putting two people that have at the highest skill levels to compete one-on-one to as close to a life or death situation essentially as you can, at least in sport form, right? I don't even know if I can technically put it into words. There's something that's so captivating to me that I can't get enough of it. I could watch it all day. If you've never trained in mixed martial arts to any degree, I highly recommend at least trying something such as like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because there's not near as much potential for damage, especially not long-term damage, where you can still kind of get that feeling. And I think we also have, as humans, especially as men, we have these primal traits to us that are inherent that we have. And I don't think there's many times in a normal functioning society we get to practice those or let them out. I think it's very healthy to get to do that. So you kind of get a small piece of that when you get to watch it. But I guess it does for me what it does for other people when it comes to baseball, basketball, football. They can watch it all day on ESPN. They can tell you, I can't. I don't know what it is. I just don't care.
Yeah.
Don't want to watch it. You cannot pay me to sit down and watch a sport. I'll go to a game and watch. That's the environment that I love. But I don't know if I can even articulate more so than that. It's such a beautiful sport to me it's a high level chess game with severe consequences is what it is.
that's probably the best description.
How Joe Rogan, yeah, he says
high level chess game with severe consequences. No, it makes sense. But the training, like you said, that goes into it, and this goes for really any professional athlete, what they have to sacrifice and do that the rest of us don't even think about in order for them to get to the top of their sport is so commendable. And it's fun always to watch, in my opinion, to watch excellence and to watch people at the highest level do what they do. And I'm starting to appreciate it a little bit more. It's interesting because like you said, we all kind of have these kind of primal instincts. One of the things I love to do when I work out is to box, to hit the gosh, I can't even think of the word, but just the bag. Thank you. See, this is what happens when you have kids, people. Simple words like bag, gone. That's just how it works, So I blame my kids for that. The many nights that I was up late changing diapers and no sleep. But I love to punch the bag. It's just something fun about kind of getting that out. I love hitting golf shots for that reason too, because I love just kind of hitting a golf ball hard, kind of like you like throwing the ball hard. I just like seeing the golf ball just take off. I love it.
Yep.
There's nothing better than that. But certainly the respect, for people who are willing to put in the time to reach the top of their trade. And that goes for all of us, because even if we're not in UFC or golf or whatever it is, there's something that we're doing. And are we pursuing excellence? Are we going after it and being the absolute best we can be? And there's just something like, I love watching Tom Brady. Now, I don't love watching Tom Brady against the Kansas City Chiefs. I will never be happy about what happened in 2019. But I will say this, watching excellence is something that is just enjoyable. Watching somebody who is at the top of their craft do their thing. And that strategy, like you said, two people just kind of going at it and just trying to figure out who's going to come out on top, who's going to submit, who's going to get knocked out, whatever it is. I'm coming around. So Scott, I'm coming around, buddy. We're getting there. But Hayden, I think it's cool just to kind of see your passion for that and understand, why you enjoy that so much. Dude, 30 minutes is up. We're there. Again,
it goes like that.
It just flies by every time, that's for sure. Well, hey, listen, man, thank you for being on the show again. Always appreciate talking to you. And I look forward to doing the Tough Mudder here in just a little bit, man. I'm very excited about that. We're going to get a group together. So we'll have I'm thinking about creating a WhatsApp group for us so we can communicate and inspire one another, share some videos, some pictures and whatever, and just encourage each other. So we need to get a group together and get people on that. But if you want to sign up for the Tough Mudder, do it. Let us know. DM us on LinkedIn, or if you got our phone, just send us a text message, whatever. We'd love to have a huge group come and participate and to raise a lot of money for ALS patients who are just, going through things that most of us will never even comprehend and understand. So again, thanks for your time, Hayden. Appreciate it. Everybody come back tomorrow for episode 54 with my good friend, Robin Hyra. Jim, boo. Is that boo towards me, Jim? I think it is.
I'm going to give you one quote to leave on.
I deserve that. All right, let's do it. Let's hear it.
Sean Corvell at the starting line of Tough Mudder. There's something that really hit me. I think we maybe mentioned this, but
I know what you're going to say. Say it.
When was the last time you did something for the first time?
He was so good too,
dude. I cannot wait. I hope he's there.
Was so good.
I want to hear him. I want to get hyped.
I know.
Up by
hey,
him.
If you've never done a Tough Mudder before, let's do it. Make this a new first attempt or first try. He also said something too. He said, "You guys are the ones who are inspiring the rest of the world. You're here on Saturday morning. You're chasing after this. You're the ones inspiring people to live a better life." I remember him saying that too and going, maybe we are. I don't know. So let's inspire some people to be great and to pursue greatness and all those kind of things, which is awesome. Great quotes, man. Thank you for your time again. We'll talk to you soon. Everybody else have a fabulous Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow for Finish Strong Friday. Peace. See you guys.
Have a good one.